Hi, my name is Nicola Sell. Today I'm going to talk about the product of praising in a classroom. So, praising in the classroom rather than acknowledging negative behavior to promote a more managed classroom. So, what is praising? Praising, the definition of it is expressed warm approval. So, it's a type of affirmation that can be used in a classroom, in the field, in line, in the lunchroom, anywhere that your students are. So, how to praise? The most important thing in a praise is to make sure we're being extremely specific in a praise. So, you're not just praising them on being really good at something, you're praising them on things like their hard work, things like how well they're collaborating, things like that. So, being extremely specific in what behavior you are praising. Another way of how to praise is praising students on their accomplishment, not their ability. So we're praising students not based on how smart they are, their intelligence. We're not telling them, wow, you're really smart at math, because then students aren't going to try to work on as hard on things. We're going to praise them on things like, wow, you're working really hard on that math problem. I can tell you're working very, very hard at it, and I'm really proud of that. So you're being very specific. You're not praising them on their ability to do something. You're praising them on the effort that they're giving in that. So by doing that, you're showing your students that you're not looking necessarily for the smartest or the brightest student. You're looking for the students that are working the hardest and showing you that they deserve a praise, really. So when is praising effective? Praising is effective when it's sincere. So you're really believing in what you're praising. You're not just praising something that you see and you don't care about. You're praising people. You're praising the students on things that you really love and you really are seeing, and it's there. So things like if you see students really working hard, you're being sincere about how you're praising them. In response to a specific behavior. So if you gave specific expectations for a classroom, such as walking quiet in line, you're giving the students the praise for things like walking quietly in line. It gives evidence to a student's competence. So when you have a student walking and they are showing you that they are being respectful, they are showing that they are meeting your expectations, you're going to praise them on that because it shows that they are able to listen to your directions. So when is praising ineffective? So praising is ineffective when it's not delivered with any intentionality. So if you don't have a purpose for praising, and it goes back to praising that's insincere. So if you're praising students just because you want them to be quiet or just because you want them to feel better about themselves, yeah, those may be reasons that people think that it's a good reason to praise, but it's really not. The students can really tell when you're being insincere. So we want to make sure we're praising and we really mean what we're saying to the students. The praiser is saying it in hopes to manipulate. So we're trying to manipulate the students into doing something we want to do that's not going to be effective in the long run. To have a well-managed classroom, we're going to want to praise them, just to praise them and to want to really encourage them to show the positive behavior that we want. And lastly, it's delivered with minimal attention to the it's minimal attention to the student's behavior. So when we're just praising the student with no attention to their behavior, they're not going to know why they're getting praised. So if you're just telling a student, hey, good job, that's going to be a lot more ineffective than, hey, you're standing so straight in line, you're being so quiet, and I really appreciate that. It's more specific, and there's more attention to the behavior that you want to be mimicked. The benefits of praising, so there's a lot of benefits. So one of them is it develops a really healthy relationship between the student and the teacher. Students, I think a lot of the times aren't excited to go to school. They're dreading it. We want it to feel like a safe place where they know they're going to get praised for their hard work and they're going to be treated with respect. So if students know that they're going to be praised every day, they're going to want to come to school. They're going to want to build that relationship with their teacher. Another one is students will behave in manners that are acknowledged to gain approval. So if the students understand that they're going to be praised for a certain behavior, they're more likely to mimic it because they know that they're going to gain approval from the instructor. You're going to create classrooms that promote positive behavior rather than noticing negative changes or negative behaviors. If you're constantly giving attention to all the negative behaviors, then those behaviors will just keep happening because the students really want that attention, even if it's negative attention. If we start putting attention to the positive behaviors, the students are going to notice that, and they're going to want to start to get that attention, and they're going to want to start to get that approval and everything like that. So they're going to want to reenact the behavior that you're looking for. Some more are, there's more instructional time because less students are being disciplined. So disciplining students takes a lot of time out of your instructional day. So if we're cutting that time down and just instead of disciplining and having a student write a reflection or whatever it is, we're only praising the student, and that takes a lot less time. So if we're praising more students are gonna behave in the way that we want them to behave and behave in the way that we have the expectations for them. We're going to cut down a lot less of the discipline time, which will make more instructional time. Expectations are understood by the classroom. If we're praising the students for the expectations that we set out, they're going to understand them more clearly. They're going to understand exactly what we're looking for because they see that the other students are getting praised for what we said. So maybe students will go in and understand that your expectations of them are to be quiet, to sit down and get their work out. The more you praise for that, students are going to be listening for the expectations more, so they understand that they're going to get praised as just like their classmates did. So here are the references, and thank you for listening.